Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. Already we're live. And as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'll be working on more enhanced input logic in Unreal Engine 5 using C++. That's it. I have been going over this for the past 2 streams and I'm planning to like wrap it up this stream. So let me go to my gameplay screen. There we go. Okay, and then let me just go ahead and say something like Sitsay of live exclamation. Guys, this is a chat from last stream. Let's go with something like a live exclamation. Okay, let me go ahead and just scroll down to check everything's going good. Let me go. Actually, guys, give me a second. I forgot to open my stream on my phone. That's where I usually see if everything actually goes good. There we go. Okay, and guys, I actually don't know what's wrong with my lighting right now. Okay, you're hiding, Neymar. Appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, does this light help? Okay, that's it. Listen up, chat. Look at this developer standing before you. They have the audacity to claim they want to dominate Unreal Engine 5, yet they struggle to make a character look up and down. Honestly, if you guys were like watching me last stream, when I used enhanced inputs, I could move my player using key controls, but then when I tried adding the yaw and pitch input, it's like either my yaw only works or either my pitch only works. I couldn't get both of them to work together. That's it. Stream about to go crazy. Hell yeah, guys. Okay, that's it. Okay, look up in time, but today the mediocre ends. We're going to strip away the weakness and replace it with pure efficiency plus logic. If you're watching, pay attention. This is how a master is built. And you don't you dare disappoint me in front of your audience. If you waste a single second of their time, I will make you feel the weight of your failure. Guys, I cannot read this properly. Let me go down. Can guys, the reason I can't read properly right now is because I'm not warmed up as well. That's enough focus to master enhanced inputs in C++. You need to understand the trifecta. As I pronounce it, input actions, mapping context, and component binding. I see. Okay, getting my 12th grade results tomorrow. Honestly, good luck with that, Neymar. Let me know how it went. Okay, the architecture of power, the input action, IA. This is, oh, I see. So input action. So IA stands for input action. This is the data set for looking. It must be a vector to D for jumping a digital boolean. I see the input mapping context IMC. Okay, before I used to be confused. What does IA and IMC mean? That makes so much sense now. Okay, this maps your keys, mouse, WASD to those actions. The C++ binding, this is where the magic happens. You must tell the enhanced input component which function to trigger when an action occurs. The breakdown how it works. To fix your yaw but no pitch disaster, you need to properly extract the data from the F input action value. I know that this is like, whatchamacallit, this is like a structure that I created inside of my C++ project. I did that last stream. What's the topic? I am trying to master enhanced input in Unreal Engine 5 using C++. That's it. The header .h, you need to include input action value.h. I see. Declare your functions. The binding inside your setup player input component, you cast the player input component to you enhanced input component. The logic you use value.get f vector 2d. The X is your yaw left slash right and the Y is your pitch up slash down. I see. Broken code number 2, the input binding disaster. Okay, I mean, I don't want to like work with broken codes. Speaking of that, let me go all the way there. Let me remove this thing from here. There we go. Okay, so this is like a new project because I wanted to like start from like a brand new project type stuff. So let me go up real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and select this, hit R. I want to decrease my project size a little. There we go. Okay, because smaller looks kind of good, guys. Okay, now I'm gonna go a bit in front. And let's start off by going to my content drawer. Firstly, before I actually do anything, I want to go ahead and import some of my files in here. This is like all my drawings and all that stuff. Actually, my PNGs and Blender meshes. And guys, speaking of which, I did like add a image poll in my community post today, asking you guys what should I have for my Tuesdays stream, because Tuesdays stream is not just my programming, but it's like multiple different stuff as well. Okay, that said, I'm gonna go ahead and close these things. Let's go to my content up here. Now, I'm gonna right click and create a new folder. So, I'm gonna go ahead and call this something like inputs. This is gonna be my inputs folder. Okay, let's double click this. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and right click this and search for a action input or an input action. I'm gonna name it something like IA underscore move, which is input action move. This is gonna be in charge of me moving forward, backwards, left and right, depending on what button or what key controls I press or what keys I press. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and add another input action. What up, guys? Let's go here. Let's type something like input. Adding pixels. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, let's go with input action. I'm gonna name this IA move, which is basically input action. Actually, not move. Look, okay, my bad, guys. This should be look. IA look is basically where am I gonna look? Am I looking up and down using my pitch input? Am I looking towards the left and right using my yaw input? Okay, there we go. And then lastly, I'm gonna go ahead and let's say create a. Let's see. So maybe I go with something like input mapping context. There we go. And I'm gonna call this something like IMC input mapping context underscore default. Okay, perfect. I'm sorry I'm late. Honestly, I'm not late. I appreciate you joining the stream, Pixels. Okay, let's go all the way up here. Okay, now once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and double click my IMC default, which is my input mapping context. And then let's see. So I'm assuming I gotta add key contents. There we go. So under my default key mappings, I'm gonna go ahead and click this plus icon here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and let's say set this to something like IA move. For my IA move, I'm gonna click the plus up there again, and I'm gonna add two buttons. Let's say something like W and S. Now my W is to go forward, so I won't be having any specific modifiers. Although I will be having, let's say something like a Swiss input axis value as a modifier. Okay, guys, this part is kind of vague as well, but I feel like I'm going pretty good so far. Okay, then I'm going to click something like plus. Now, for my S, I will be having a Swiss input axis just like my W, but I want to go backwards, so I gotta go ahead and add a negate modifier as well. I'm assuming negate modifier stands for like a negative modifier. There we go. And that's like perfect. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and close the two of these, and then I'm going to go ahead and click this plus. This time, I'm going to go ahead and let's say, okay, I want to go with A and S. Let's go with A and S. Actually, A and D. So now my A is going to be positive, so I'm going to go ahead and add a Swiss action. So let's go with something like Swiss action. And then for my D, I'm going to go ahead and add another modifier. Firstly, I want to add, let's say, Swiss action. Secondly, I want to go towards the left. Actually, I want to go towards the right. So I'm going to go ahead and add a negate, which is basically a negative value. Okay, let's go with something like... Do you guys see negate here? There we go. Okay, is this going to be a role-playing game? Honestly, I haven't thought of that yet because I've not worked with my actual game logic for the tabbing for my actual ending of my program for 250 series, because I will have to make 3D models and then all that stuff as well. That's the reason I'm actually wondering if you guys pick Blender in my post. But whatchamacallit, I'm gonna make 3D models, and then later on, depending on the kind of 3D models I actually make, I'm gonna make a game around that type of stuff. Okay, sure, jawline, guys. Sure, jawline is kind of crazy, but I haven't posted a short for a while. But so let's go to my main camera. Okay, let's see if I actually have one. Did you guys see anything? Pretty sure you guys couldn't see a thing, guys. I have not been mewing these days. Okay, let's go ahead and get this lower, but I do want to actually check this out. Okay, that's it. Let's see. So let's go with something like T. I added a negate. Okay. I should have showed you guys without my headphones on, but let's see. Now, once I'm done with my IA move, I'm gonna go ahead and add another mapping context. This is gonna be for my IA look, and this one is gonna be in charge of me moving in the x-axis or me moving horizontally or vertically, depending on where my mouse moves. And that said, I'm gonna go ahead and click plus here. I'm gonna go ahead and let's say move my mouse vertically depending on where my mouse moves in the y-axis. Okay, and then do I want to add any modifiers for this? I actually forgot. Okay, maybe I might go with... Honestly, I might not need any modifiers for y-axis, but I am going to be adding, let's say... I'm going to be adding my pitch depending on where my mouse moves in the x-axis. I will be needing a modifier for my x-axis, which is going to be, let's say, a negate modifier. There we go. Okay. Avik, I need your help. How can I contact you? Honestly, you guys could join my Discord server. That's why I usually chat with you guys and talk to you guys in general. You guys can get access to my Discord server by typing !Discord on chat. And guys, I'm so glad that Nightbot actually started working. Okay, that's it. Now let's go back to my entire project here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and create a class. So let's go to something like tools. Let me go to something like new class. Let's say I want to go ahead and create a character class. I'm going to hit something like next. I'm going to go with something like a mage character. Okay, I have been creating mage characters. I want to use whatever half PNG I made. Or wait, Hold up, guys. Let me cancel this real quick. Do you guys think I should like go ahead and use one of my Blender meshes, because I have been learning 3D modeling like off streams and all that stuff, because I want to like have better models and all that stuff. That said, so this is the mesh that I work on. I've been working on like a female mesh and all that stuff. Let me go all the way here, but I'm not as good at it, guys. Let me go all the way up here. And guys, I'm pretty sure I won't be getting a copyright for this, because let me go to something like edit mode. Okay, I'm pretty sure I won't be getting like a copyright if I like go to something like files and then go to missing files. I'm gonna go ahead and export something like a find missing files. I'm pretty sure it's like a Lisa's file, because I am using the image from Genshin Impact. So then I have been using those characters. I'm just using them as a reference. I don't think that would give me a copyright. Okay, let's go with Blender reference images. I'm gonna go with something like a Lisa reference. There we go. Okay, now if I go to the x-axis, there we go. So this is the character that I was actually trying to model and all that stuff. But later on, I do want to add multiple stuff. So could I like actually import this? I mean, I actually don't know. Let me just go ahead and maybe type this and then turn backwards. There we go. Okay, so I might go with file. I might go with something like export. I want to export this as a, let's say, QLTF file. There we go. Okay, let's go to something like my desktop, because I have been using my mage and my boss PNG for so long, and they're just basically textures stuck to each other. Okay, let's go ahead and say we finna be hired by Vivek in the near future. Guys, hired by me is kind of crazy. That's let's see. Okay, we cannot see the window. Oh, can you guys? Oh, hold up, guys. Oh my gosh, there's no way I was still in my gameplay screen. I mean, I was still in my main camera. Okay. Guys, I should have seen the chat before. Let me go ahead and exit and show it to you guys again. Let me go all the way here to my Lisa blend. Whoops, let's go ahead and exit that. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is basically the model that I've been working on. Okay, let's go all the way here. And guys, I'm pretty sure that I won't be getting a copyright. And there's no way I was still in my main camera that whole time. Okay, it's not working. How do I copy the Discord link? Honestly, the Discord link is in the bio as well. Like, yeah, in the description as well. So you guys could like check it out from there. I learned Java backend, Spring Boot, all those stuff, and I want to think and write my own logic how to do it. Honestly, I'd say the best way to do it is by actually working on project. Even like if it is like a real basic project, the more you work on it, the better you get type stuff. That's it. So this is the project that I've been working on. If I go here, this is like Lisa from like Genshin Impact. I'm not going to be making this exact same model for like my actual game, because I don't want to get a copyright or all that stuff. But I'm just like working on it like as a reference. I'm going to be adding my different modifications. Okay, and that's like pretty much it. I did like save this, so I might try exporting this model to my to my Unreal Engine this time. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this inside my Blender. Just follow this side, guys. So there we go. Let's add this inside of my QLB file. I'm gonna go out of it here. Let's go ahead and drag and drop it. There we go. Okay, perfect. Wait, did I have like two different QLB files? Oh, I did have it. Let's go with a bunch of Control C's. Okay, wait, let me just go ahead and delete this one. Let's go ahead and delete that. Okay, let's go ahead and delete that. I'm gonna go to something like my Blender content. There, now inside my content, I'm gonna go ahead and drag and drop my QLB file. Okay, let's go with apply. Yes, let's go with apply all. Perfect. And guys, let me open my chat as well. There we go. Okay, now this is my QLB file, so I'm gonna go ahead and create a character class. But just to make sure, if I were to go to my Blender's QLB files, I go to Lisa, static mesh. Okay, guys, this is a small issue that I always run into. I just see half my PNG, half my mesh. I don't even see like the whole mesh for some reason. Like, this is just half my mesh. Is it because I use like mirror imaging or something like that? There we go. So this is just like half the mesh, guys. So how do I fix this? I mean, I could like watch a few tutorials off stream on this topic, but for the time being, I am gonna like delete this. Let me go ahead and delete this cube from here. Okay, how do I delete this? So let's try typing something like delete. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna go to something like tools. I'm gonna go to new class. I'm gonna create a character class. Let's call this something like, I don't want to call it Lisa. This could be the same name. Let's go with something like female. Okay, so this is gonna be my female character. I'm gonna go ahead and create class. can you make a video about how to write our own logic in Java or JavaScript programming languages? I haven't actually started Java or like JavaScript yet, but I might actually eventually start them. Then I might make tutorial videos then. Okay, that said, I'm gonna go ahead and import my project here. Let's go ahead and load all. I'm gonna go ahead and remove my Unreal Engine configurations. Okay, now it's time to add my actual logic here. Firstly, I'm gonna go to my females with header files and declare a few content here. Then I'm gonna define it inside my C++ file. For example, I could go ahead and include something from my game framework. Let's go with something like framework. I want to go ahead and include, let's say, the spring arm components. Okay, the spring arm component is for my spring arm components and header files is for my camera boom, which is basically like a selfie stick. And then I'm going to go ahead and include something from my camera. I'm going to go ahead and include a camera component. There we go, .h, which is my camera components and header files. And then maybe I go ahead and eat something. Okay, did I have a typo here? No, man, I did not. Okay, now inside my begin play, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. Let's say I'm gonna go ahead and add a comment that says something like, so what is something that I might need for my enhanced inputs? Okay, let's see. Maybe I can Gemini here. Let me go ahead and open my old chat up here real quick, because this is like a new content I was working on last stream. I did not like work on this off stream because I have been working on like the Blender stuff. Let's say, can I like see my mouse pointer somewhere down here? There we go. Okay, let's go all the way up here. So, I mean, I could like go to my other project of my Unreal Engine, but then I feel like I don't want to like really do that part. So I'm gonna scroll all the way up here. Did I like never send my code even once? Okay, maybe I go all the way up here. I should have actually kept like a side of reference up there because I forgot what should I actually add inside my header files. I know I gotta add a bunch of new properties, but I forgot for what. Oh, I remember. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and create one for my input action. Let's go with something like input action. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and create input action. For that, I'm gonna need a U property. My U property is gonna be having 3 parameters. The first is going to be edit anywhere. I want to be able to edit my input actions anywhere. Next up, I want it to be blueprint read only. I want my blueprint to only be able to read it, but not like change it. Let's go with something like blueprint read only. Okay, and then hold up guys, let me actually mute myself real quick here. Already mic testing. Okay, perfect guys, there was some kind of background noises. That's it. Next I'm gonna go with something like blueprint read only. And then lastly, I'm gonna go ahead and add a category. Okay, let's go with something like category. My category is gonna be equal to, let's say, something like inputs, because category is basically not like necessity, but then the reason I actually add a category is like for organization, so it's like organized properly. INPUTS, there we go. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and create something like a U action input, okay, which is going to be represented by a pointer. I did not load a few things. I'm pretty sure I gotta go ahead and load a few classes. Let's go with something like a class. My class here is going to be called something like a U action input. Okay, here's the thing, I kind of forgot this part. Okay, let's go ahead and get Gemini up here. Okay, now let's scroll all the way up here. Okay, this is the part where I was struggling like with the yaw and pitch input stuff. Okay, let's see. I mean, maybe instead of going all the way here, I do like having fresh chat. So let's go with Control C, copy that, get / Gemini up here. Let's go ahead and paste this. Okay, let's say something like, say, I created a character class, but I forgot. Let's go with something like, I forgot the code that I needed to add here. Maybe can you help me recall question mark? Okay, let's actually recall this part. Okay, look at this disaster. You go live in front of the entire world and show them a header file that looks like it's written by a bot with a Blown fuse? Okay, you forgot the code. Do you think the compiler cares about your excuses? It only cares about excuse me guys, it only cares about syntax, and right now your syntax is pathetic. Okay, so there's the thing. These are the two forward things that I have to declare. First is you mapping context, and second is you input action. I needed one more. That is for I'm pretty sure I needed one more. Okay, necessity for look. Oh wait, is this the reason my look function did not work last stream? That actually might be it. Okay, so I'm actually gonna get this in the other window, guys. This actually might be the reason my look function did not work last stream, because I did not include that header. I thought that that's not a necessity at all. Okay, let's go all the way down here. Now, firstly, what I'm going to be needing is, let's go ahead and include something else. These are the new contents. I gotta like work on memorizing this part. Okay, let's go with something like include. Now, I want to go ahead and include something from, my input actions. Input action value dot h. So I basically include the header files from my input action value, okay? And then I create a u input actions class. Did that. I gotta go ahead and create another class for u input mapping context. Let's go with u input mapping context. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and end that with a semicolon as well. Now I needed another class. I'm positive I needed another class. U input mappingcontext. There we go. Okay, I needed a structure as well. I needed a structure of something like f. Let's go with IntelliSense. I mean, I can't use IntelliSense here. Okay, wait, I needed a structure. Okay, I mean, I guess I'm going to work with a structure in a bit, so I'm going to go with something like null for the time being, ending with a semicolon. Okay, I mean, I can't set this to be none. I'm just going to create a bland structure. Okay, hi, bruh. How are you doing, Nikhil? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that's it. Let's go all the way down here. Now, first thing that I'm going to be needing is a few u properties. Okay, so my first u property is going to be for my u action input. That was correct. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call this something like move action. This is going to be for my move input action. Let's go with something like move. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and set this to be something like look action, ending, actually move action, ending with a semicolon. Now, here's the thing. Do I just see a red underline here because I probably added a structure that I did not need? Okay, I'm gonna like get back to the structure again. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and add a comment that says something like a look input action. Let's go with something like look input action. Okay, I'm gonna create a u property for it. Let's go with a u property with a parentheses. Now, I want my look action to be, I want to be able to edit it anywhere, so I'm going to go with something like edit anywhere. I want my blueprint to be able to read it, but not actually change anything in it, so I'm going to go with blueprint read only. Lastly, I want my category to be equal to something like inputs. Okay, I might go with inputs. I mean, they're the same thing. I mean, I think singular is much better. There we go. Okay, now once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and create another u input action. Let's go with action, input, actually, a u action input, which is going to be represented by something like a look action, ending with a semicolon. Hi bro, hiding Nikhil, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that's it. Let's see. Now, once I'm done with this, here's the thing. I gotta create a look function, but before I actually go over that stuff, let me go with Control-A, Control-C, copy that. Let's go ahead and get Gemini up here. Okay, let's go ahead and get that to the project. Let's go there. Extend this a little. Extend this from here. Scroll a bit lower. There. Now, I'm going to go all the way down. Let's go ahead and paste this. Okay, go with Shift-Enter and say something like, Sensei, I think that we're missing something. I'm pretty sure that I needed to create a structure under the two classes. Okay, that's it. Let's read. Stop right there. You're trying to sabotage your own stream. Okay, maybe I go all the way up here. Okay, and then let's go ahead and paste this. Let's say Shift Enter, say something like Sensei. Can I get the reference code for the .h and .cpp files so I can read and learn it, question mark. Okay, because I created a new project. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it's loading. Of course, starting fresh with a female is great way to cement everything they've learned. Since you're moving away from the hybrid system and going to full enhance, okay, I think I gotta go ahead and edit this part. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and update it. Guys, the reason this chat is loading a lot is because this is like a really old chat. Okay, here's your clean optimized code. So these are the things that I'm missing up here. Log and macros, I did not need this though. Why are there so many things up here? Why are there 4 classes? Spring arm component, you input. I mean, okay, I see why are there these classes here. Oh, okay, so forward declaration telling the compiler these exist. Wait, this is a new way to actually write this code. I did not think about it this way. Okay, so I have a few questions. So wait, didn't I usually need to include my header files up there instead of classes? Note that the F stands for structures, I see. Okay, then we create a new class under the protected, under my begin play, input assets, assign these in the blueprint details. U property, okay, I gotta go ahead and create one for my input mapping context, U property for my input action, and then another U property for my look action. And then on my components, I create this for my spring arm component, which is a camera boom. This is actually something new. That's for my follow camera. And then input functions, I have a move function and a look function, and that's pretty much it. Okay, that part is easy, but guys, this is something new. I did not know I could have access to my spring arm component and my camera component without including them. Instead, I just created classes. Oh, I see. I included them in my in my C++, so it's the same thing. Okay, so I go ahead and include my camera component.h, enhance input components.h, enhance input subsystems.h. Okay, and input action value.h. This is the reason my yaw and pitch did not work last stream. And then I go ahead and add stuff in my constructor. This is the basic stuff. Important allows looking up and down. Okay, so BU spawn control rotation must be set to true. Okay, and then the reason this is, guys, this is why I love Gemini. It like explains every single thing that I'm confused on. This BU spawn control rotation is set to false. Camera follows the arm, not the controller directly. I see. Okay, and then under my super begin play, I go ahead and add mapping context. If player controller, which is represented by a controller's spawner, equals to player controller which has been casted. Okay. If you enhance input local player subsystem, which is represented by subsystem, you local player get subsystem. I get my subsystem. Okay, player controller, local player. Okay, I do kind of know this part. The thing that I was confused on was my header files and all that stuff. Okay, now I'm firstly going to be writing this code. Look at the reference first because I actually don't have these syntaxes memorized. So I'm going to go ahead and decrease this. Let's go all the way down here. There we go. Now I'm going to go a little higher. There we go. Okay, so apparently inside my header files, I will be needing these, but I'm going to add these in a bit before I actually add my classes as well. I don't need that for the time being. I won't need these 3 parameters too. There, so this is a basic class template that we get. Now, firstly, I gotta go ahead and include my log and macros. I actually don't know what this is for. I gotta look into it. So I'm gonna go with something like logging. So I'm gonna go with something like logging/log macros. Hold up, guys, never mind. I think I know what this is for. This is like for the UE log to check if my program actually executed properly. And that's next up. I'm gonna go ahead and create a few classes. So I'm gonna go with something like a class for a U spring arm component. So let's go with a spring arm component. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Then I create another class for U camera component. This is actually something new for me, because I did not know that I could create a class instead of actually instead of like including the headers for those things. Okay, and then once I'm done with that, let me scroll all the way up here. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and need to create a class for my U input mapping context and one for U input action context. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and create a class for a U input mapping context. Okay, ending with a semicolon and another class for a U input. Okay, action context. Okay, U input action context, U input mapping context. Are these the names that it's called inside my Visual Studio? So if I go with, whoops, let me go all the way up here. Let's close. Why do I have two Blender QLBs? How do you delete this? Delete. Can I like really not delete it? Lisa, meet, NPC. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and, whoops, let's go ahead and open my Blender again. Why can't I delete these? Let me go ahead and right click. Let's go ahead and delete. I think I clicked another button. Okay, let's go ahead and delete that. Can I like not delete these? Are these like not deletable? Okay, what if I go with delete? Can't go with backspace. Okay, why does the delete not work? Maybe I go inside Lisa, I go with static mesh. Should I delete my static mesh? Let's go here. I'm gonna go with something like delete. I'm gonna go with something like delete. And then I should be able to delete my Lisa. Oh, I see. Okay, I think I see how it works. But I'm gonna do this later. I'm not gonna waste time doing this right now. I'm gonna go ahead and close my Blender QGB, add it to my context. There we go. So in my content, do I have two Blender QGBs? I do. What if I want to like force delete one? How do I force delete it with all its content? I know I can't delete it for the time being because I do have like a bunch of content inside of it. For example, another Blender QGB. But I won't be bothered with it for the time being. I'm going to work on that later. But first thing that I did want to work on was inside my inputs. When I go with something like action, it's just input action. It's not context. So context was something that I actually added up here. Okay, that's it. Let me go ahead and go all the way back up here. And now, once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and, let's say, include a structure as well. So I'm gonna include a structure. Okay, maybe first end this with a semicolon. There we go. And then let's go with something like a structure. Now, for my structure, I'm gonna go with something like F input action value, ending with a semicolon. Okay, so F input action value. And the F here stands for a structure, not floating point. I used to think it stood for like floating points. Okay, that said, once I'm done with that, forward declaration telling the compiler these exist without loading the full files yet. I see. Oh, okay, I see. Does it hurt to tell the compiler, does it like hurt to load the whole files? There we go. Now, under my begin play, I'm going to go ahead and add something like a action input. Okay, I might go with something like move action input. Move input action. Let's go with something like move input action. That sounds much better. Now, I'm going to create a U property for my move input action. I want my move input action to be able to edit anywhere. Okay, country. Honestly, I do live like abroad, but I can't give my exact country. Okay, that's it. Let's go with something like edit anywhere. Okay, and then next time I want my input action to be able, I want my blueprint to be able to read it. So I'm gonna go with something like a blueprint. Read only. Let's go with something like read only. And then I want, let's say I want it to be in a category. Okay, I want my category to, let's say, be something like input. And guys, category is just for like organization, whatchamacallit, like I want my input actions to be categorized inside of the input section. I want my camera boom, or like all my cameras' content to be organized inside of a cameras as a category. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and create something like a U input action. Let's go with something like U input action context. U input IMPUT. Excuse me, guys. Action context. Okay, which is going to be represented by a pointer called something like move action. Okay, and then I end this with a semicolon. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and add another comment that says something like look input action. My look input action is going to be in charge of me looking in, me rotating myself to look to the right and to the left horizontally and up and down vertically using the fetch. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a U property. Now, I want my look input action to be, I want to be able to edit it anywhere, so I'm going to go with something like edit anywhere. And then I want it to be blueprint read only because I only want my blueprint to be able to read my look input action but not actually edit it or anything. Lastly, I'm gonna go ahead and add this under a category. My category is going to be equal to inputs. There we go. So this is going to be inside of an inputs category. Then I go ahead and let's say create a hue input action. I'm going to create another hue input action context. So, okay, please quit, guys. Please quit. It's kind of crazy. Okay, that's it. Let's go with something like hue input action context. Okay, which points towards something like a look action. So I'm going to point it towards a look action, ending with a semicolon. This is going to be in charge of me rotating or like looking left, right, up, down using yaw and pitch. Okay, and then next up, once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and add another comment. This time, I'm going to go ahead and add one for my, was it input mapping context? There we go. I'm going to go with something like input assets. Input assets, assign these in the blueprint details. Okay, let's go with something like input assets. There we go. Okay, for my input assets, I'm gonna go ahead and create a U property. Okay, now again, I want my U property, my input assets to be able, I want to be able to edit them anywhere. I want them to be blueprint read only. Okay, and I want the category to be under inputs. Let's go with category inputs. Okay, and here's the thing. I honestly feel like I might want to add my input assets above my actual assets. There we go. I mean, this is not like important to do or something. Fact check me on that, guys, but I think this seems more appropriate. Okay, next I'm going to go with something like U input mapping context. I'm going to go with U input mapping context. Okay, which points towards, let's say, something like default mapping context. Let's go with something like a default mapping context. There we go. Then I go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Now, let's see. I know my red underline here is just because of my editor, but let's wait for it to go. While it's actually going, I might go ahead and now create a few components. So I'm firstly going to I'm going to create two components. Okay, let's go with something like components. Okay, these are going to be two different components. The first component is going to be for my camera boom, and second is going to be for my camera components or my follow camera. So I'm going to create a U property. Okay. Now I want my camera boom, which is my spring arm component. I want it to be visible anywhere. I want my spring arm component to be blueprint read only. I want my blueprint to be able to read it but not edit it. And then lastly, I want my category, just category, to be equal to something like camera. I want my spring arm component to be under a cameras category. And then next up, I'm gonna go ahead and let's see. Okay, I want to go ahead and create a use spring arm component. There we go, which is going to be pointing towards something like a camera boom, which is basically my camera components is pointer. Actually, my spring arm components is pointer. My bad, guys. I'm gonna create my camera component now. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a U property for my camera component. I want my camera component to be visible anywhere. I want my camera component to be blueprint read only. I want my blueprint to only be able to read it, but not like edit it. And then I want my category to be equal to something like camera. My camera component is going to be under my cameras section. Did I make a typo? category, camera, visibleanywhere, only, category, camera. Okay, let's copy this. Okay, because I'm positive I made a typo. camera. Did I make a typo? Guys, I gotta be really careful with like typos. There we go. This seems much better. Okay, now I'm gonna go all the way down. I'm gonna create a U camera component here. Let's go with U camera component, which is going to be represented by a pointer called something like follow camera. Okay, then I go ahead and end this with a semicolon. And that's like about it for my components. Here's the thing, my components don't look like classy enough, so I'm gonna go with something like components. Let's go with, there we go. Okay, I think that looks like classy. Okay, next up, input actions. Actually, input functions. So once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and add another component that says something like input functions. And speaking of components, I might add an extra space here. There. Okay, now I'm gonna go with something like input functions. This is gonna be where I actually declare my functions. Then I'm gonna define those functions inside my C++ file. That said, for my functions, I'm going to be needing two functions. First is going to be a move function with a constant parameter of f input action value. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a white function called something like move. This function is going to be in charge of me moving that requires a constant parameter of f input. Okay, f input, what was the, does interlessons work? F input something function, so f input action value. Action value. There we go. Okay, which requires the memory address of a values parameter ending with a semicolon. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and create another function called look. This is going to be in charge of me turning and like looking around using my mouse, which requires a constant parameter again of f input action value. The reason I go with like the action value function is because both my move function and my look function are both input actions, which is going to be requiring a values parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, and that's, I'm assuming, pretty much it for like my header files. I'm done defining all this stuff. Now I'm done declaring everything that I need. Now I'm gonna go ahead and define them inside of my C++ file. So let's go to C++ file. Firstly, I gotta include like a bunch of things here. For example, let's go ahead and include something from my game framework. I'm gonna go with game framework. Okay, slash the spring arm component. Okay, so I'm going to include my spring arm components as header files. And then from my game framework, I'm going to go ahead and include, actually, not from my game framework. This time from my camera, I'm going to go ahead and include my camera component .h, which is my camera components as header files as well. And then next up, I'm going to go ahead and include, okay, these are the things, these are the newer stuff that I'm going to include. Enhanced input components, enhanced input subsystems, and input action value. So let's go with enhanced input components or component.h, which is enhanced input components as header files. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and include something else as well. Let's go with something like hashtag include, a pair of double quotes. I'm going to go ahead and include enhanced, enhanced input subsystem, subsystems.h, which is my subsystems as header files. And then I'm going to go ahead and include input action value.h. So I'm going to go ahead and include input action value.h, which is my input action values as header files. Okay, that's actually pretty much it. Next up, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and set my camera boom, which is my spring arm component, and my follow camera, which is my camera component, inside my constructor, because I want to construct them inside of my Unreal Engine when I compile the code. Did I spell something wrong? This is going to be components. That is going to be component. There we go. Okay, now in my constructor, I'm going to go ahead and create a default sub-object for my camera boom, which is my spring arm component. I'm going to set my camera boom to be equal to create default sub-object. Okay, with a pair of ankle braces. I'm assuming my create default sub-object is like a template. Okay, that's it. Now my create default sub-object is going to be requiring a parameter inside the pair of ankle braces of my U spring arm component. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and add a pair of parentheses, go with something like text. Whoops. There we go. My text, what I want to call my spring arm component inside my Unreal Engine is going to be called something like camera boom. Okay, then I go ahead and end the entire thing with a semicolon. There we go. Speaking of which, enhanced enhanced input sy subsystems. There. Okay, perfect. Now I'm gonna end this with a semicolon. Okay, then I'm maybe gonna eat some oats because I am kind of starving. Speaking of starving, bro, are you creating game? Honestly, I am like working on the basic game logic. Today's topic is like enhanced input in Unreal Engine 5 using C++. That's it. Maybe I go ahead and eat some oats real quick. You missed that, guys. The oats is kind of chewy. There we go. Now, once I'm done creating a default sub-object, I'm gonna go ahead and point my camera boom, which is actually a pointer I'm gonna point it towards something using an arrow mark operator. I want to point it towards the setup attachment. There we go. I'm going to point it towards my setup attachments as function, which requires a parameter. It requires a root component, so I'm going to go ahead and add a root component. Basically, why the reason why the root component is like important, without the root component, I won't be able to move, turn, or rotate my camera boom. I won't be able to see it do those things. That said, once I'm done with root components, I'm going to go ahead and point my camera boom towards a target arm length as well. Okay, let's go with something like target arm length. And basically, what is target arm length? Target arm length is basically if you guys are like familiar with like camera boom and like film industries, camera boom is the stuff where the camera is actually stuck to and we extend that stuff to like get the better angle. If you guys aren't familiar with that, it's basically a selfie stick. So I gotta increase the selfie stick to be away from me. That's target arm length. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my target arm length to be 400.f. 400.f is the same as 400.of. Okay, ending with a semicolon. 400 is basically I want my spring arm component to be 400 centimeters away from my actual mesh. Okay, lastly, I'm gonna go with something like my camera boom. I'm gonna point it towards a blueprint. Actually a boolean use pawn control rotation to be equal to true. The reason this is actually true is because I want my pawn or like whatchamacallit. Okay, when I rotate and all that stuff, I want my mesh to be able to look up and down depending. I want my camera to go up and down depending on what my player's controller, what my player actually clicks. Either his mouse moves vertically or like horizontally type stuff. Okay, that's pretty much it. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and create a default object for my follow camera as well. I'm gonna go ahead and set that equal to create default sub object, and then I'm gonna add a prop ankle braces. Now inside my ankle braces, my follow camera is my camera component, so I'm gonna go with camera component. Okay, it's gonna be a U camera component because this is an unrealistic camera component. Then I go with a prop parentheses, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add a text. What I want my camera component to be called inside my actual Unreal Engine, I want it to be called follow camera. This camera is going to be following my camera boom, which is my spring arm component, ending with a semicolon. Now, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and point my follow camera towards a setup attachment exactly the same as my camera boom. I'm gonna go with something like setup attachment. Now, instead of adding a root component, instead of my follow camera following my key controls, the controls that I set, I wanted to follow my camera boom, my spring arm component, so I want them to be stuck together. So my root component is gonna be my camera boom here. There we go. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and end this with a semicolon. That said, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and point my follow camera towards, let's say, something like blueprint. Actually boolean use pawn control rotation. I won't be adding a target arm length because I don't need to like extend my camera. I need to do that for my spring arm component though. So instead of that, I'm just gonna go with something like boolean use pawn control rotation. I'm gonna set that equal to false here because I don't want my camera to move using my key controls or using my controller, which is my mouse here. Instead, I want it to follow my spring arm component when that moves, if that makes any sense, guys. Okay, that said, once I'm done with that, guys, the reason I can't explain this properly is because I did not like completely master this topic, so I don't know it really well myself as well. That said, let me go ahead and eat some oats because I am kind of starving. Okay, there we go. Alright, now for my wide. Oh, guys, meet you a bit. There we go. Okay, next up, inside my begin play. Apparently, I gotta go ahead and add an if statement from my add mapping context. Okay, this is the newer part that I just like worked on last stream. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and add a mapping context. The language the character speaks. So my mapping context is the language the character speaks. I'm gonna go ahead and add some content here. I'm gonna go with an if statement. Okay, that says something like if a player controller, okay, if my a player controller, which is going to be represented by a player controller's pointer, is equal to cast, and then I'm going to add a pair of ankle braces if it's equal to cast a player controller. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. My a player controller is going to go inside my pair of ankle braces. There we go. Okay, that is my cast. If it is cast a player controller, okay, with a pair of parentheses, I'm gonna go ahead and set this to be controller. Okay, now here's the thing. I need some kind of explanation or context on what this actually means. If a player controller, okay, if my player controller is equal to cast a player controller, let me go ahead and add a comment here real quick. Let's say something like, can I get a explanation on what this means? Okay, let's go with something like mean/does. And guys, in case you guys can see this stuff in my vertical stream, make sure to move on to my horizontal stream. That's where what should we call it? Display my entire window type stuff. That's it. I'm gonna go with a pair of curly braces. Now inside my pair of curly braces, let's see. Okay, howdy pixels, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, let's go ahead and copy this, delete that from there. I'm gonna go ahead and paste it somewhere here. There we go. Okay, now inside this part, I'm gonna go ahead and do something. I'm gonna go ahead and add an if statement inside of if statement. Apparently, in my second if statement, guys, this is giving me OCE from up here. To go ahead and remove this, I'm gonna go ahead and paste this down here. There we go. Okay, now inside my initial if statement, I'm gonna go ahead and add another if statement. Okay, that checks something, so I'm gonna go with something like if, a pair of parentheses. Okay, I'm gonna check if my U enhanced input local player subsystem, U enhanced input local player subsystem. So I'm gonna go with something like if my U enhanced input player, U enhanced input local player subsystem, U enhanced input local player subsystem. If my U enhanced local input, U enhanced input local player subsystem, ENHANCED, if my U enhanced input local player subsystem, which is going to be represented, let's say by a subsystem. There we go. Which is going to be represented by a subsystem. Okay, is equal to U local player. I get system from my U local player. Hold up, guys, this is a bit trickier part to actually understand. I'm gonna set this equal to, so if my U enhanced input local player subsystem, which is represented by a pointer of subsystem, is equal to, I'm gonna go with something like U local player. Let's go with something like U local player. Okay, maybe I go ahead and get my equal to down here. There we go. Okay, with a scope resolution operator that points towards the get subsystem. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get a subsystem, add a pair of ankle braces. My subsystem is gonna be my U enhanced input local player subsystem. Okay, so I get my U enhanced input local player subsystem. Then I'm assuming I got add a pair of curly braces. Inside my pair of curly braces, I'm gonna go ahead and add my player controller, which is my a player controller. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add my player controller that points towards get local player. Okay, so I'm gonna go with something like my player controller. Let's go with something like my player controller. Okay, player controller, which is, what up guys, why do I keep messing this part up? Let's go with something like controller, CONTROLLR, which points towards the get player controllers function. Okay, with a pair of parentheses to invoke the function, and that's actually pretty much it. Next up, how do you learn C++? Honestly, I did initially, I had a program for 250 series, where my goal by the end of that series was to make a game in general. that consists of AI logic in it. And since I thought that I was going to be, make a game, I thought might as well learn C++. So I went to ChatGPT, I started learning the basics of C++, and following a roadmap that I got. That said, once I was done with that, I moved on to like SDL3 because I thought the game engine is going to be harder if I don't know the syntaxes. So first I started with like basic C++, then tried making different kinds of projects using SDL, and now I'm like working with Unreal Engine because I feel like I'm pretty confident with C++, but the Unreal syntax is kind of different. That's it, howdy Pixels. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that's it. Let me just go ahead and eat some more because I am kind of starving. And guys, my player controller is going to point towards my get local player. There we go. Okay, once I'm done with this part, let's see what's the next thing. Okay, next up, I gotta go ahead and add a pair of curly braces. Maybe I go in a new line, add a pair of curly braces. Under my pair of curly braces, I'm gonna add this in a new line as well. There we go. Okay, inside my pair of curly braces, I'm gonna go ahead. Come on, guys, I think I lost it. There we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and do something. So my subsystem, apparently I'm gonna go ahead and point my pointer of my subsystem. Let's go with something like subsystem. I'm gonna go ahead and point this pointer towards something. Let's say I'm gonna go ahead and point it toward my ad mapping content. Hold up, guys, let me actually go to my just mute myself. Already mic testing, guys. Wait, hold up, where did I go, guys? Let me go to my gameplay screen. There we go. Okay, there we go. I did like have some background noises. Speaking of background noises, let me go all the way up here. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and point my subsystem towards a ad mapping context. Let's go with something like ad mapping context. And I actually don't okay, I know ad mapping context is function which points towards my excuse me, guys, which points towards my default mapping context. I have done this before, but I still need an explanation on this part. Okay, default mapping context. This is the class that I declared inside of my header files right here. So default mapping context. There we go, right here. Okay, and then I'm gonna go all the way up here. The second parameter that I'm going to be needing is a priority of 0. Let's go with DEFAULT MAPPINGCONTEXT. There we go, it's default mapping context. Then I'm gonna go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Now, what the priority 0 means. Okay, I'm pretty sure I do know. Priority 0 means like, it's gonna be my first subsystem or something like that. Okay, that's it. Once I'm done with this is the content that goes inside my begin play. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and exit my begin play, and I gotta go ahead and define the function that I declared inside of my header files. For example, I'm gonna go with something like a white function of my a female. Okay, this is going to be my females class. There we go, which points towards, let's say, something like a move function that requires a constant f input action value as a parameter that requires the memory address of a values parameter. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add a pair of curly braces. Now, inside my pair of curly braces, I'm gonna go ahead and create a f vector, okay, f vector 2-dimensional, which points towards, let's say, something like a movement vector that is going to be equal to something like value.get. I'm going to go with something like f2d vector. I'm going to go with f2d vector. Okay, f vector 2d. Okay, perfect, and that's like pretty much it. Then I'm going to add a pair of parentheses to invoke my function, ending with a semicolon. Now, here's the thing with my functions. So, I know what it does. I need some kind of explanation. I know what the f vector 2d does. My keyboard is 1-dimensional. It converts it to 2-dimensional. And then this is a movement vector. That is a value. Okay. I might actually add a comment here as well. Let me say something like a comment. Can you explain me this part in detail as well, question mark. Okay, and then let me go up here and see something like, can you explain me this part in detail? Question mark. Okay, did I spell detail correct? D-E-T-A-I-L. There we go, and D-E. Guys, how did I manage to mess up my spelling twice in a row? Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done with adding my 2D vector there, I'm gonna go ahead and add an if statement down here. So, I'm gonna go with an if statement and then check something like if my controller, let's say something like if my controller is not equal to null PTR, which is the placeholder for pointers. If my controller did not return null, then I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna add a pair of curly braces, and inside my pair of curly braces, I'm gonna find out which way is the forward based on camera rotation. I'm gonna add a comment that says something like find out which way is forward. Let's go with something like which. What up, guys? Let's go with something like which way is forward. Okay, let me fix my typo here real quick. There we go. Find out which way is forward based on camera rotation. Based on camera rotation. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and let's say create a constant f rotator. Okay, this is a new part as well that I gotta work on. So my constant f rotator is gonna be equal to, let's go with something like controller, which points towards, let's say something like the get controller rotation. Let's go with get controller. Okay, rotation is this function. Okay, with a pair of parentheses to invoke the function, ending with a semicolon. Now, I'm positive I had a typo. Okay, it's not get controller, it's get control. Okay, so I'm going to point that to my get control rotation. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and create another constant f rotator. Okay, which is going to be equal to, let's say something like... Okay, my f rotator is going to be represented by a rotations variable. Okay, there we go. It's going to be represented by rotations as local variable. Now my f rotator, let's go with f rotator, is going to be represented by something like a yaw rotations is, I'm assuming, function, which requires a few parameters. The first is going to be something like 0. The second is going to be rotation dot yaw. The third parameter is going to be 0, ending with a semicolon. I know what this does. This apparently like flattens my entire 3D object or something like that. Okay, but I will be getting a detailed explanation after I'm done with this. That said, now once I'm done with this, I'm gonna go ahead and create a few more constants. Let's go with a constant f vector. Okay, which is going to be represented by a forward directions as local variable that is going to be equal to f rotation. Okay, matrix. This is something new. Let's go with something like matrix. Okay, with a pair of parentheses that requires a yaw rotations as parameter. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and use the dot get unit axis as function. I'm gonna go ahead and get my unit axis, which requires a parameter of e axis of my x axis. There we go. Then I end this with a semicolon. And then I'm going to do the same thing for my right direction. I'm going to go with something like f vector. Okay, and then I'm going to go with something like right direction. And guys, this is basically my world direction that I'm creating right now. I will be using this in like my add input. I think it was add movement input. Yeah, my add input movement function, because add input movements function requires two parameters. A world direction, which I am creating right now, and the second parameter is going to be my value. That is going to be my I think movement vector. Yeah, I think it's my movement vector. Okay, let's go with something like right direction, which is going to be equal to a f rotation matrix rotation matrix. So it's going to be my f rotation matrix, which requires a parameter of something like yaw rotation. Is yaw rotation again? Okay, here remember me having like I appreciate it, or Lakshya, I pronounce your name. I appreciate you joining the stream. I think I actually do remember you guys. There are like so many of you guys that I actually do remember. With my horrible memory is like keep forgetting it. Okay, that's it. Let's go with something like yaw rotation, and then I'm gonna go ahead and use the dot get unit axis function. I'm gonna go ahead and get my unit axis with a pair of parentheses, and then I'm gonna require a e axis, which is going to be my y axis this time, because x axis is in charge of me moving forwards and backwards. Y-axis is in charge of me moving towards the left or right, if that makes any sense, guys. Then I ended with a semicolon. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Now, finally, once I'm done with that, I'm gonna add a comment that says w/s equals to my x-axis. Actually, my y-axis. Let's go with y-axis. Okay, and to a/d equals to my x-axis. And guys, this part is not important to write at all. I just write it because it's like easier to like read this stuff later on. Okay, are you working in any company? Honestly, I'm actually not like working in any company in general. I'm just like learning the basics because I feel like I'm like a beginner to be working somewhere right now. That's let's see. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a movement input here. Okay, which requires a forward direction. Okay, this is going to be my world direction because my add movement input requires two parameters: world direction and scale value. My scale value is going to be my movement vector. My movement vector vector dot the x-axis. Actually, let's go to the y-axis because this is add movement input. I mean, it actually doesn't matter, honestly. Actually, it is forward vector. Forward is for y-axis. WS is forward backwards. I see. Let's go with something like movement vector. Hold up, guys. There we go. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and add another movement input. Okay, with a parenthesis that requires a world direction, this time of my right vector. Okay, guys, let me actually check if everything is going good, because apparently yesterday I checked my stream, there was something bad. Okay, let's go all the way up here. Let's go with something like right direction. Okay, and then I'm gonna go with a scale value. Okay, did I spell direction correct? So it's right, D-I-R-E-C-T-I-O-N, D-I-R-E-C-T-I-O-N. There we go. Okay, so my world direction is my right direction. My scale value is my movement vector dot x-axis. There we go. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and end this with a semicolon. And that's like pretty much it. Now, once I'm done with this is for my move function. I did not actually add my look function yet because I do want to add another white function. Not add, actually define the second function that I declared inside of my header files. This is going to be from my a females class. I'm going to go with FEMALE. Let's go with a scope resolution operator to point towards my look function that requires a constant parameter of f input action value, which requires a memory address of my value. There we go. Okay, and then I go ahead and add a pair of curly braces. There we go. Okay, what is bro doing? Honestly, I am like working on enhanced inputs in Unreal Engine 5 using C++. Does anyone know what bro is even building? Okay, now let's go all the way up here. There we go. So for my, for my look function, I won't be requiring a lot of parameters, but I will be, let's say, requiring a f vector 2D, which is going to be something like look axis vector. Honestly, I'm trying to understand what the f vector 2D means. This is basically my scale value that I create, and this is my world direction that I create. Yaw rotation, Oh, I see. Okay, I see. So I'm gonna go with something like look axis vector. Okay, that is going to be equal to value dot the get function. My get function is going to be having a pair of ankle braces that require something like f vector 2D, f vector 2-dimensional. Oh, I see. So this flattens everything out. Okay, this flattens everything out. I use my flatten vector. What is my rotation for though? Get control rotation. I think this is for me getting a control rotation. Speaking of control rotation, I'm going to go ahead and add a f vector 2D here. Okay, with a pair of parentheses to invoke the function, ending with a semicolon. And then I'm going to add a if statement to check something. So I'm going to go with something like if a pair of parentheses, if controller, let's go with something like controller is not equal to null PTR. If my controller is not equal to null PTR, then I'm going to go ahead and do something. Firstly, I'm going to go ahead and add a yaw input. Then I'm going to add a pitch input. So I'm going to go ahead and add a controller yaw input. Let's go with add controller yaw input. Hold up, guys. I think I spelled it wrong. Yaw input. Yaw input is in charge of me looking in the x-axis depending on where my mouse moves type stuff. Let's go with input. my add controller yaw input requires a parameter of value, which in this case is going to be my look axis value. But this is going to be really fast for my sensitivity. I might go with x-axis. There we go. This is going to be really fast for like my sensitivity axis. Did I spell it correct? What up, guys? This is going to be my look axis value. Okay, look axis. Oh, it's look axis vector, not value, guys. My bad. Let's go with something like vector. There we go. Okay, now this is like sensitivity. I'm going to move really quick. I don't want to move that fast, so I'm going to multiply this by 0.2, which is basically 20% of my original sensitivity. Then I'm going to go ahead and add another controller. This time I'm going to go with something like pitch input. Let's go with add controller pitch input, which requires a parameter of my look axis vector dot the y-axis. And I'm going to go ahead and multiply that by 0.2, which is basically my sensitivity as well, 20% of my original sensitivity. Okay, once I'm done with this, I gotta go ahead and like work with my final part. Did I have a typo here? Look axis vector. Oh, it's a pitch. Never mind. Okay, now I'm done adding my functions. I mean, I'm done declaring my function. I'm done defining my functions. I'm done with almost everything. I have my wires set on my Unreal Engine and my wires set on my my Visual Studio, but I want to connect them or they won't know what to do if something is clicked. Like if I click something using these functions, I want to do something inside my Unreal Engine, but my Unreal does not know what to do just yet. So that's where the binding comes in use. So under my super set player input component, I'm going to add a if statement to check if my U enhanced input component, which is going to be represented by a enhanced input component, is equal to cast checked. Okay, let's go with something like if my U enhanced enhanced if my U enhanced input component, which is going to be represented by a enhanced input component, is equal to, I'm going to go with something like the cast checked. Let's go with checked. If my casts are checked, checked, I'm going to add a pair of ankle braces and then do something inside it. I'm going to go ahead and add my U enhanced input component, input.com. There we go. And then I'm going to add a pair of, let's say, parentheses outside my pair of ankle braces. Did I spell U enhanced? enhanced. There we go. U enhanced input component. I'm going to add a pair of parentheses, which has my player input component as a parameter. Okay, perfect. Then I'm going to go ahead and add a pair of ankle braces or a pair of curly braces. Now, here's the thing. Why is my cast checked having a red underline? Checkeed. There we go. I had a typo, guys. My bad. There we go. Now, inside my pair of curly braces, I'm going to go ahead and bind the functions to the action assets. I wouldn't have to actually add this comment, but I feel it's going to be easier to understand before. Let's go with something like a binding, binding, binding the functions. Let's go with functions, binding the functions to the action action assets. There we go. Now to do that, I'm going to go ahead and use my enhanced my enhanced input component, input.component. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and point my enhanced input component towards my bind component or towards my bind actions and function. I'm gonna copy that, paste it here to avoid my typo. Okay, let's go with something like the bind action, because this time it's not access. Access requires 3 parameters. My access name, on which object do I want to apply that access on object, and the third parameter is function. What do I want to do once that action is once that button is clicked and once the conditions are met type stuff. But action, in the other hand, it requires 5 parameters. The first parameter is going to be my move actions as pointer that I created. The second function is going to be a e-triggered. Okay, e-triggered event. If a event is triggered, triggered event with a scope resolution operator. Did I spell it correct? trigger. Oh, it's e-trigger event. Okay, so my e-trigger event is going to be pointing towards, let's say, something like triggered. If my event is triggered, then I want to go ahead and do something. I'm going to go in a new line. Okay, maybe I want to go ahead and get this here as well. So there we go. Okay, now inside my new line, the third parameter is going to be an object, which in this case, it's going to be this object. Then I want to do something. I want to get the memory address of my a female. I'm gonna go ahead and point that towards the move function. I want to move my player. Okay, then I go ahead and end this entire thing with a semicolon. Now, here's the thing. Why is my bind action having a red underline? No instance of overloaded functions U enhance input component. Bind action matches the argument list. Argument types are U input action context. Each trigger event a female. What? Okay, did I have typos? Move action. Is it called move action? Let me go all the way up here. Okay, bunch of red underlines, but we can ignore this part because this is just my editor. Okay, so this is like a move action. And then if I go up here, I'm going to control us to save the code as well. Okay, let me go. There we go. Okay, guys, it was my editor all along. This is one thing that I feel annoying about like my Visual Studio. Like, even if I write a correct code, it apparently like says something is wrong even though nothing is wrong. Let's go with something like enhance input component. Let's go with component. Now I'm gonna point it towards, let's say, something like a bind action again, because I need to bind my look action as well with a pair of parentheses. I'm gonna require a few parameters. The first is gonna be a look actions as parameter. The second is gonna be a e-trigger event. Okay, so once my triggered event is triggered, let's go with the RGTR. Once my triggered event is triggered, TR, I think I spelled trigger wrong. Let's go with ETRIGGER EVENT. There we go. Okay, and this is going to be triggered. Okay, once this certain event is triggered on this object, I want to go ahead and do this content that is set to be done in this function. Guys, that is the best way that I could have phrased this part. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Let's get this a bit lower. Let's end this with a semicolon. Now, I spelled it wrong again. TRIGGERED. Okay, and the red underlines can like be ignore type stuff. That's it. This is actually pretty much it here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get this Gemini up here. I just want to like extend it to like these proportions. I'm going to increase that from there. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little. Okay, that zoomed in way too much. Let's zoom in a bit, zoom in a bit. Now let's scroll down. Where's my pointers here? Don't I like actually see my pointer somewhere? Okay, let's go all the way down here. Okay, isn't there a faster way to go down? Like, let's go with both my fingers. What up, guys? Let me go all the way down here. Okay, let's scroll lower. How high even am I? This is C++. Wait, this is my old project. Let's go here. I mean, this was supposed to be my old project. Hello. Okay, maybe I go all the way up here. Can I like extend that up and then get my pointer down here? How do I go completely down? Do I just gotta like scroll to go down? Okay, what language do you program in? Honestly, I am like working on C++. That's it, guys. I think I quit here. Oh, wait, never mind. There we go. Okay, perfect. Wait, can I go? There we go. It was up. It was like up all along. Let's hit Control S to save the code now. We can like ignore this red underline here, I'm assuming. Okay, let's go to my Unreal Engine up here real quick. Now, in my Unreal Engine, I'm gonna go ahead and live compile real quick. I'm gonna go with something like live and compile my code real quick. Now, while it's compiling, I might actually eat some oats real quick because I am kind of starving. Okay. So it says build failed. Where did it fail? Okay, so it says structure name with U input action context. Okay, what is this project you're working on? I am like working on basic, I'm working on enhanced inputs in Unreal Engine 5. That said, let's see. No instance of overloaded function U enhanced input bind action matches the argument list argument types. Okay, so enhanced input components. Is my spelling wrong somewhere? They were like pointing towards my female.h. They were pointing towards my f input action value. Okay, maybe I go all the way up here. Let me go ahead and... How long have you been building this project? Hope you get recognized. Honestly, I appreciate you, Thunderboy. That actually means the world to me, guys. That's it. I have been like working on my Unreal Engine for I think it's been like 20 days now, but I have been working on SDL for like the past 60 days or so, and I've been learning C++ for how much of a remaining day was left type stuff. That's let me go ahead and get Gemini up here. Now I want to go ahead and see, did I mess something up in my input components? Okay, I check a cast, that part is correct. Setup player, enhance input, bind action. This is movement trigger. What if I go ahead and copy this part? I'm positive like it won't be making that big of a difference. Let me just go ahead and paste this here. There we go. Okay, let's go with something like enhanced. ENHAN. Excuse me guys, CED enhanced. Okay, maybe I just copy this. And let's go ahead and paste it up here. So I have enhanced input components, which points towards bind action, trigger event, this. Okay, why was my longer than this? Okay, this should be correct. Wait, hold up. Let me actually copy this part real quick. I want to go ahead and copy this, and then I'm going to go with Control-Z real quick because I want to see the difference between what we wrote. I'm going to go ahead and paste it here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 parameters here. In the other hand, I have 5 parameters up there. I have my move action, I have e-trigger event, I have this. I require 4 parameters, I guess. Okay, but why do I get that error? Let's go ahead and set this real quick. Maybe I go ahead and get my Unreal Engine up here, go with something like live and compile my code real quick because I want to check why I get this error. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and copy this part, manual recompile trigger. Okay, let's go with the build failed. Let's copy this part. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and get Gemini up here. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this. Go with shift enter and see something like sensei. I get this error, then I try to compile my code. Okay, I get this error when I try to compile my code. Let's see. Oh no, Sensei leaves close, guys. I feel like Gemini is so into the role-playing type stuff. The name swap diagnostics, FEMALE. FEMALE. I think I spelled female correct. There's no way it's a typo, right? Fix, you need these exact names in our engine to recognize. Okay, protected input assets, U properties, Sensei's technical lessons for F and U. U input mapping context page, this is the book. F input action value, the data. Did I mess something up? Okay, the error unable to find class with name U input action context. Did I really go with U input action context? I went with F input. Oh, F input action value. This is supposed to be F input action context. Okay, let's go ahead and open my Unreal Engine again. Go with something like live. I'm gonna go ahead and live compile. Now, let's wait for it to compile. While it's compiling, I might actually... Okay, I got another error. Let me actually check if it's like the exact same error real quick. Hold up, guys. Let me actually eat something too. I feel like the oats is kind of chewy. Okay, do I get the same exact error? So it says U input action context. Wait, did I not save my code? I still get the structure. Okay, so let's read this part. Error, unable to find class delegate enum or structure with name U input action context. So it's supposed to be F input action value. Okay, maybe let's go ahead and copy my code. Go to Control-C. Oh, this is going to be F. Guys, this is one thing that's like really annoying to me. It's like I make so many typos up here. Let's hit Control S to save the code. F input action context. F input action context. Okay, why do I get it right on the line? I'm assuming that's just my compiler. So let's go with something like live. I'm gonna go ahead and live compile. While I compile, let me check if everything's going good here. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and extend that. Structure name with F inputs. Okay, now it's like class delegate enum or structure name with F input. So my U input action. Oh, I think I see. Okay, wait, maybe I go ahead and change this to be U input action context. This should be U input action context. But I gotta go ahead and change this to be U input. Okay, maybe. Hold on, guys. Let me think this through. So, F input action value. My input action values are F. So, I have f input action value, but these should be f input action context. They should be f, right? Okay, u input action context. This should be f. There. Okay, that should apparently like fix this part, right? Okay, let's see. Let me go ahead and read what sensei/Gemini said real quick again. The error unable to find the name with u input action context is happening because there is no such thing as input action context in Unreal Engine. You have accidentally combined two different names, u input mapping context and u input action. Oh, the name swap diagnostics in your female.h. You likely have lines like u input action context. I do have that default mapping context, u input action context move action. Fix these. You need these exact names, so I need u input mapping context, u input action, u input action. Didn't Gemini like give me this thing to like write? Okay, apparently don't need the u input action context. I need camera component, u input mapping context. Okay, this should be pretty much it. F input action value. So for my move action, this is going to be something like u input. So let's go with something like u input action. Okay, wait, u input action. I need another class called something like u input action. Okay, then I go ahead and end this with a semicolon. This is going to be like an uppercase I. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. Okay, let's go ahead and paste it here. Let's paste it here. Okay, so I have, this makes more sense. I have one mapping context, two input actions, one for look action and the other for move action. Okay, so this is going to be a class for u input action context. Okay, u input action context. These are my classes. I'm going to hit Control S to save the code. Now let's go ahead and open my Unreal Engine, go with something like live. I want a live compile. Okay, speaking of live compile, I might want to go ahead and eat some raisins. So I'm kind of starving. Unexpected tokens preceding semicolon u input action move action. Okay, so it says unexpected tokens. Let's read this. So I have u input mapping context, u input action context, f input action value. That's correct. Okay, and then logging / log macros, u property edit anywhere, blueprint read only, u input mapping context, default mapping. Okay, bro is definitely getting hired, guys. Getting hired is kind of crazy. I mean, that's it. That's kind of cool though. A hiring name. I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that's let's see. So u property edit anywhere. What was the error that I get again? Let me go ahead and read that error again. I'm gonna go with something like live compile. Let's go ahead and live compile real quick. So the error that I get is like 3 out of 4 things were compiled. It says error C2143 syntax error, missing colon, edit, missing semicolon before, missing a semicolon before an asterisk. Okay, so apparently I'm missing a semicolon before an asterisk and then missing specifier integer. Okay, I'm missing a semicolon, but I'm very sure that I don't like really need a semicolon in my u properties. Okay, I have something like female, I have u property. Okay, wait, let's go with something like Control A, Control C, copy this. Let's get Gemini up here. Let's go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift Enter and say something like sensei. This is my .h file, and I see a bunch of red underlines. And then let's go back here. Let's go to my C++ file. Let's go ahead and copy that. Guys, this is why I sometimes get confused. I think this is like my editor because my C++ file is perfect, which means my header file should be perfect as well. That's it. Let's go ahead and paste this here and say something like, this is my CTP file. Okay, let's go ahead and send this real quick. Now, okay, sensei's here, just blah, blah, blah. Okay, the quick header fix. In your header file, look at line 13 closely. U input action context. The problem, the problem. There is no such thing as input action context. You combine names, the fix, change it to class you input action. So is it just you input action? Okay, apparently there's no context. I do know there's like input mapping context. Okay, let's go ahead and remove this. Now let's hit Control S to save the code. I'm gonna go ahead and scroll all the way down here. Let's get my Unreal Engine here. Let's type something like live. I'm gonna go ahead and live compile this. Let's wait for it to compile. 2 out of 4 done. It's gonna soon say 3 and 4 results succeeded. Okay, let's go ahead and now that my result is actually succeeded, I'm gonna open my content drawer under my classes. I'm gonna go ahead and go to my project, get my females as class here. I do have a camera as well because of my camera component. How did I get 2 females up here? Let's go ahead and delete one. Let's go with something like maybe backspace. There we go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and click my females as class. There is my camera. I'm gonna go ahead and extend my details as panel right here. Maybe I go like all the way down here. There we go. Okay, let's go all the way up here so I can like actually look at this part. I'm gonna go ahead and click my class. Under my class, I'm gonna click this add button and go with something like a static mesh. I want to go ahead and add a static mesh to my class. Wait, I'm gonna go ahead and call this something like my female. Most specifically, I'll go with something like Lisa. Okay, did it not load? I'm positive I have it somewhere here. Let's go to my Blender's QLB files. I'm gonna go with something like Lisa. And then I have static mesh. I have my mesh up here. I have a sphere as well. Okay, let's go with something like my static mesh again. I'm gonna go here. Let's type something like, or maybe Lisa, Lisa. And guys, give me a sec. Oh wait, I think it's this. I think it's this cube. There we go. Okay, and guys, don't ask me why is my mesh just half, because for some reason I use like my mirror imaging or something like my. I think that it was mirroring in my Blender while actually making this mesh. Something did not go right here. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and get my mesh all the way up there. I'm gonna get it inside the cube. But before I actually do get it, I want to rotate it. Let's go with something like R. I want to go ahead and rotate it. Wait, hold up, guys. I want to rotate. Wait, E to rotate. There we go. I want to rotate it backwards. There. Okay, so this is where I am going to be facing. So this is where I'm going to be facing. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get my camera. I'm going to get this lower. Let's go ahead and get this lower. Okay, let's click my follow camera. I want to get click W and get this a bit in front there. Okay, now, maybe I want to look from the POV of my mesh. So I'm going to go a bit higher. Okay, and guys, where's my entire mesh? Like, I see just half my mesh. Let's come a bit in front. Okay, maybe I want it to be like a third person. Guys, I guess we're just having like half a mesh today. There we go. Let's go ahead and get this a little higher. Now, I want to rotate it. I'm going to hit something like E to look a bit downwards there. And then I'm going to go with something like W. Let's click W. I want to go a little back and a little higher. And then maybe a bit forward. And guys, you guys can like look at in the camera type stuff, but I mean, now, if I were to go ahead and live compile again, I'm going to go with something like live compile. I should be able to move and do all that stuff. Before I live compile, guys, I'm going to go with possess. Okay, maybe the possess goes in my female. There we go. My entire females instance. I'm going to go with possess. Okay, all results have been filtered, changing. Okay, probably because I am like clicking my actual static measure. Let's go with something like possess. There we go. I'm gonna set my auto possess player to be 0 so I see from my cameras as POV when I start my program. Then I'm gonna go ahead and exit this. Now, once I'm done with this, is there something else that I need? Let me think. So maybe I want to extend this a bit higher. How do I get this higher? There we go. Okay, now, is there something else? Let me think. So in my world settings, I want to go with something like input. Let's go with my inputs section. Okay, maybe it's not here. So I go to my details tab. Let's type something like input. In my input, I see 3 sections of input. This is the things that I actually created using categories inside my header files. I'm going to click the plus. This is going to be imc_default image input image context. Why did I name it as img? I mean, it's fine. And then I'm going to go here. This is going to be for my move action. This is going to be ia move. For my look action, that is going to be ia look. Now, let's go ahead and live compile. While it's compiling, let me actually go all the way up here. There we go. Okay, let's wait for it to compile. And guys, I might have snacks as well, so like eat while streaming. That's it, let's go ahead and now run the code real quick. Okay, there we go. And guys, let me know if this is kind of lagging right here. So this is my input. I can look to the left and right, but I cannot look up and down. I can not move in front. I cannot move towards the back. I cannot move left. I cannot move right. Let's exit that. It's time to fix that part real quick. But before that, I want to fix my camera first. Let's go ahead and get my follow camera. I'm going to go ahead and increase that. I want to get it a bit back. So it's time to decrease this part. I'm going to go ahead and click my follow camera. Let's get it a bit back. And then I want to go ahead and get it a bit higher and a bit more to the back. Now, if I were to go ahead and live compile again, let's go with live compile. There we go. Okay, while it's compiling, let me go ahead and wait real quick. And guys, why don't I have my entire mesh here? Like, this is just half a mesh. Okay, let's go ahead and run the code. There we go, that's perfect. I can turn and look in different direction and all that stuff. But guys, I'm still like half a mesh. Let's go ahead and exit that real quick. Speaking of that, I'm gonna go ahead and get my my static mesh inside my capsule. I actually forgot to do that. Okay, let's go ahead and move myself towards the left. I want to get myself inside my capsule. Okay, am I inside my capsule? There we go. I think I'm somewhat inside my capsule. I'm going to click my static mesh again. Let's go ahead and scale it. I forgot I cannot scale it like that. I got to go with R. I want to decrease my size a little. There, that should be good. Now, I'm going to go with my follow camera again. I want to change its position a little bit. I'm going to go with something like W. Get myself lower. Get myself a bit in front. There, that should be good. And then I want to rotate myself a little. So I'm going to click something like E to rotate. There. And then I'm going to click W and go a bit higher. Okay, this should actually be perfect. I'm going to go ahead and live compile. What do you make? Honestly, I am like working on like enhanced inputs in like Unreal Engine 5 using C++ right now. That's it. Let's wait for it to live compile. Results succeeded. Let's go ahead and run the code. There we go. So this is my object. I can look towards the left and right. Use skeletal mesh for better ideology. Actually, I will like go over that as well. But for the time being, I want to like work on my enhanced inputs. I cannot move towards the forward and left. So I'm going to go ahead and open my content drawer. And then go under my inputs section. I'm going to click my IA. Actually, I'm going to click my IA move. Hold up, guys. Let me go ahead and go here real quick. So there we go. Okay, now for my IA look, I'm going to click my digital boolean and change it to a 2D vector. I think that's why it didn't work. Let's go with 2D vector as well. If not, then I'm going to try changing my negates and all that stuff here. That's it. Let's go with something like live compile. Let me go ahead and type something like live compile. There. Wait, did I enable live coding instead of live compile? There we go. Okay, while it's compiling, let me wait for it to compile. There we go. Now the moment of truth, guys. Does it work? Fingers crossed. Let's run the code. There we go. I can move forward. I can move backwards. I can't move towards the left and right, but I can turn. There we go. I can't look upward. And guys, my sensitivity is awful. It's so slow. Okay, I need to work on my A and D. Okay, let's work on my A and D real quick. I'm gonna go with something like look. Now, for my A and D, do I need to separate things here? For example, my move action. Now, I cannot move towards the left or towards the right. Let's think why. Okay, my target arm length. Before anything, I want to go ahead and increase my sensitivity to like something like 0.4. I think 0.2 is like way too less. Okay, let's go up here. Now, my look axis vector. So I have a look axis vector for pitch. I have right direction. Okay, I can move towards the y-axis and the x-axis movement vector, add movement. Why can't I move towards the left or towards the right? Constant F vector, right direction, F rotator matrix, your rotation dot get unit axis, E axis Y. I mean, logically speaking, I should be able to move towards the left and right as well, unless there's something wrong in my negate. Let's hit something like control F to save the code. I'm gonna go under my IMC default. Let's go with A. My A has a modifier of Swiss input axis. That is correct. Then I'm gonna go with D. My D has two modifiers, Swiss input axis and a negate, but for my negate, shouldn't I be having like a drop down menu for like x-axes and y-axes? These are my modifiers. I'm gonna go here. This is override settings, ignore settings. This is applicator, Swiss input XYZ, that is correct. And then my A should work in that case. I should go towards the left. Let me think real quick. My move right needed a different function. Now the thing with my D, for my D, I only want to go in the x-axis, so I'm gonna remove this. There we go, let's uncheck those. Okay, that should be pretty much it. Let's go with something like live compile. I'm gonna go ahead and live compile this. Okay, let's wait for it to compile real quick. There we go, and then let's go ahead and run the code. Now the moment of truth, guys, the sensitivity is pretty good. D and A, it gets me forward. S is the only thing that gets me backwards. Let's escape this real quick. Whoops, hold up guys, there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and get Gemini up here. Okay, let's say something like, so I ran the code, and when I click A, actually when I click W and S, that works perfectly, but when I click, let's say, A and D, I only move forwards, not left and right. And also, only my yaw input works and not my pitch input. For the pitch, I could use like legacy inputs and all that stuff, but like since it looks like enhanced input is like a much better choice. The straitjacket move fix in your a female move function, look closely at how you're adding inputs. You accidentally told the character to move forward direction for both X and Y, did I? Okay, this is my move function. This is your input. Okay, add movement. The ghost pick. Okay, the fix. The first must be forward direction. Okay, y-axis. Okay, so the first is supposed to be a forward direction, which is y-axis. Second is going to be right. I did that correct, actually. Did I miss something here? Okay, it must be right, and the second must be right direction. Didn't I like do that thing? Since your yaw turning works but pitch doesn't work, step 3 check, add controller yaw input look axis. The IMC check, open your IMC default for IA look, mouse is y-axis, make sure you have negate modifier. So you actually look up. Okay, I gotta check that part. Okay, why did A and D move you forward? You were passing movement vector.x. I was not passing movement into the forward direction vector. X. Maybe I try changing that to X and that to Y. I mean, right direction. Okay, W and S is Y. W and S. I mean, I don't think this is gonna work. Let's go with something like live because this doesn't make any sense. Okay, let's go ahead and run the code real quick. So there we go. Okay, result succeeded. I'm gonna go ahead and run the code. I can go forward, backwards, forward, backwards, forward, forward, I mean. Okay, that did not change a thing. Okay, then I'm gonna go to my Unreal Engine up here, go with something like IA look. In my IA look, let's say under my... Okay, I have 2D vectors here. I'm gonna go under my looks section real quick. Under mapping, I'm gonna go under IA look. My mouse's y-axis should be having a negate. Does it have a negate? Let's see. Okay, and about this part, check the IMC check, open your IMC default for IA look, mouse's y-axis, make sure you have a negate there. So for my mouse's y-axis, I don't have a negate modifier because I added that for my x-axis. Okay, my x-axis does have a modifier. I'm gonna go ahead and delete that modifier. There we go. Now I'm positive it does not have any modifiers. Okay, so I'm gonna look up and down, so that should only be my y-axis. So I'm just gonna be having a y-axis check. Then let's go ahead and live compile. So I'm gonna go with something like live compile. There we go. Now for my live compile, I'm gonna wait for it to compile real quick. There we go. Let's run the code real quick. I can't look up and down. D and A pushes me forward. S takes me back. A takes me forward. I mean, I can only turn, like, I turn depending on where I move my mouse, even in the y-axis. Let's think, this is where I was struggling yesterday. So let's go all the way up here. Let's go with something like x-axis. Let's give that to X. Let's give that to Y. There. Now let's go with something like Control A, Control C. Wait, did I go ahead and hit Control S before I did anything? Okay, wait, let's get Sensei slash chat GPT up here real quick. I mean, Gemini up here. Let's go ahead and paste this, go with Shift Enter. Okay, and then say something like Sensei, I still have the same issue. Let's go with something like the same issue. Okay, so I still have the same issue. Okay, the ghost in the machine checks in if your C++ is correct, the game behaves wrong. Check the 3 specifier right now. The forward only a/debug IMC check if A and D are moving you forward, it usually means your input mapping context IMC is sending wrong data to the movement variable. Open IMC, look at IA move. WNS should have Swiss input values, okay, set to YXZ. This makes them talk to the y-axis, and A and D should have a no Swiss. This keeps them on x-axis. Oh, I see. Okay, that's where I messed up. Okay, let's go with IA move. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm CD default. I'm gonna go with IA move. Let's go with A. Have it check my modifiers. I do not need a Swiss modifier, so I'm gonna reset that. Okay, let's go ahead and reset this. So A and D does not need modifiers. A is gonna be positive. D, the other hand, is gonna be having a negate modifier. Let's go with something like negate. There we go, that should be pretty much good. Okay, let's go here, let's type something like live compile. I'm gonna go with something like live compile, hit enter. Let's wait for it to compile real quick. While it's compiling, I might actually hydrate my lips real quick. Okay, there we go, let's go ahead and run the code real quick now. So let's exit this, run the code. Now, I can, okay, D and A, forward, backwards. Okay, I cannot go towards the left. I gotta fix my A real quick. Let's go with something like IMC default. Okay, my D might have y-axis. There we go. Let's check all those things real quick. Wait, do both have negate? Why do I have 2 modifiers here? Let's remove one. Why did I have 2 negate modifiers? Let's go up here. So I have 2 elements. This is just for my D. I'm gonna go ahead and reset that. Let's add a modifier of negate. There. I just need 1 modifier. Let's go all the way up here. Let's type something like live compile. I'm gonna scroll down. Okay, let's go up here. There we go. Okay, when are you coming to modeling and texturing part, bro? Honestly, I did like add a community poll where I asked you guys what should I do this Tuesday, because Tuesday is like streams that does not have programming in it, like in general. So I asked you, should I like model 3D, like should I have like 3D AI models in Blender, or should I play Wuthering Waves? Should I play Geometry Dash? Or you guys can let me know in the comments what should I do. That's it. Let's go ahead and run the code real quick. Now I can move towards the right. Oh, I see. Okay, this part works. Okay, so I might replace my negates real quick. So my D has negate. My D is not gonna have anything. My A is gonna, in the other hand, have a negate here. Excuse me, guys. Let's go with something like negate. Okay, perfect. Now let's go ahead and compile it again. So I'm gonna go with something like live compile. Let's go all the way down here. There we go. Okay, let's wait for this to compile again. Okay, and then I just gotta work on figuring out my yaw and pitches. Let's close that. Let's go ahead and run the code. Now, I can go forward, I can go backwards, I can go towards the left and towards the right. I can even turn around. I can turn around when moving. Here's the thing, when I move my mouse vertically, I still turn. Even if I move my mouse horizontally, I still turn type stuff. So I gotta go ahead and fix my pitch. Okay, let's go ahead and get Gemini back up here. And guys, this is what I was struggling last stream on my pitches. Okay, let's say something like, I can move now, but my pitch does not work. ... Okay, Swiss gives me access to talking with the y-axis and not Swiss the x-axis. I just want to like remember that part. Okay, when I move my mouse vertically, I go towards, okay, when I move my mouse vertically, I go towards the yaw axis, and when I move it horizontally, I move towards the yaw axis as well. Don't use AI for modeling, that will ruin artistic thinking. I personally don't use AI for modeling, it is worse. Honestly, I don't use AI for modeling. Like, I do model on my own type stuff. I just use AI to like learn how to like program type stuff. Speaking of which, maybe at the end of the stream, I will like check if my stream doesn't lag when I use Blender. So I might use Blender once I'm gonna end the stream for a while. Okay, the yaw only diagnostics mapping context IMC sabotage. The most likely culprit is Swiss in your IMC default. Check this. Open your IMC default. Look at IA look. Editor, you likely have Swiss modifier on y-axis. Fix the delete Swiss. The mouse input is already 2D. If you're Swiss, it's selling Unreal Engine. That actually makes sense. Okay, let's go all the way up here. Let's go with something like IMC default. I'm gonna close my IA and move in my IA look. Do I have a Swiss? 0 elements. I do not have a Swiss. In the other hand, I only have a negate where I want to go ahead and have access to all these places. Okay, so for my mouse's y-axis, no Swiss. Let's go all the way up here. I'm going to try compiling this. Let's go with something like live compile. Hit enter. Let's wait for this to compile real quick. There we go. Okay, successfully patched. Now, I can't look up and down. So I can't look up or down. And guys, by the way, this is the model that I did like making Blender type stuff. I don't know why I tried to just see half the model here. Like, I might actually open Blender in a bit and show you guys, but then I was trying to use a Genshin Impact's character as a reference to like make a model type stuff, but then apparently I used meter, so just half the model was actually exported up here. That said, let me go all the way up here to IA look. In my IA look, I have 2D vector. I might change this to something like 3D vector because my object is 3D. Let's go with something like live to compile. Okay, this is 2 out of 4. There we go. Let's go ahead and run the code real quick. Now, why does my pitch not work? Let's change that to 2D again, 2-dimensional vector. Okay, so when I look up and down, is that like my x-axis? Okay, let's go ahead and live compile one more time. Let's go with something like live compile. There we go. Okay, so let's wait for it to patch. There we go. Now I'm gonna go ahead and run the code real quick. I can still look towards the left and right. I'm gonna go ahead and change this back to checking them all. Okay, now let's get Sensei/ChatGPT, actually Sensei/Gemini up here. The 2D axis check. Open IA log data assets. Value type must be 2D vector, okay? If it's set to 1D, the engine ignores your vertical movement entirely. The code verification. Look at your function. It should look exactly like this. It does look exactly like this. Okay, the pitch permissions. Final step. If you fix the IMC and the mouse move differently, but it still won't look up, you must check the master switch. Open BP_female, click camera, boom. Okay, search for use spawn control rotation. Check it. Okay, check it. If this is off, the spring arm ignores the pitch command. Okay, did removing the switch from I look fix it? So BP blueprint_female. How do I open the blueprint? Okay, click camera, boom. Maybe I go ahead and just extend this a little. There we go. Okay, now let me go ahead and shrink this up. So firstly, the thing that I'm gonna do is open content browser. I'm gonna go with my C++ classes. Okay, I'm gonna right click. I'm gonna say something like blueprint. Okay, create blueprint based on female. There we go. Let's go ahead and add this up here. My female. There, so this is my female. Okay, this is actually the blueprint. Many of you guys say me to like use the blueprint here. I'm gonna go ahead and look for use spawn control rotation, not sure. Maybe I'm gonna go ahead and check it somewhere here. Use spawn control rotation, not sure as well. Okay, here's the thing. How would I like actually need a female? Cause where is my blueprints? I think it's in my content. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and delete this. Okay, I want to go ahead and delete this asset. Now, here's the thing, like in my C++ class, okay, I did set my pawn control rotation to be true in my code though. You kind of look like Zayd Ziz. Honestly, that is like the first time. And if you guys do say me I look like the soccer player, I think his name is something like Yamin Yamal or something like that. You guys do say I look like him, but then the Zayd Ziz is something new, guys. All the fact check me in the pronunciation of the spelling. I think it's kind of wrong. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and get Gemini back up here. So there we go. Okay, now let me go ahead and say something. Let me say something like sensei. It doesn't work, but about the use spawn control rotation, I did set it to be true in my code, also because I don't know how to create a PP for my female. Okay, let's see. Guys, I feel like Gemini is way too into the whatchamacallit, role-playing type stuff. Let's go ahead and wait for this real quick. Step 1, summon the body, create the BP. You have the core female, but you need blueprint to hold your 3D models and your settings. In the content browser, right-click in a folder, select blueprint class. Okay, in the search, type parent class, a window type female, select female, the C++ class you wrote, and select, name it BP_female. Okay, so let's try this one step at a time. I'm ready to give you a referral anytime you need help. Honestly, I appreciate you, Danish. I'll definitely let you know. You can join my Discord team if I ever need help. I can definitely ask you guys. And I do having coding chat, so I could give you the coding helper summon role and summon you guys whenever I need help with coding type stuff. Or not just me in general, if anyone needs help in general. Okay, that's it. Let's go all the way up here. There we go. Okay, so the first thing, I gotta open my Unreal Engine. And now, content drawer, right click some. Assuming I go to content, I'm gonna go ahead and right click. Let's create a new folder called something like Blueprint Assets. I'm gonna go with something like Blueprint Assets. I might just go with something like Blueprints. There. Okay, then I'm gonna go ahead and double click this. I'm gonna go ahead and right click. Let's go ahead and create a blueprint class. Okay, search bar and pick parent class. So, is there a search bar here, or do you guys just see a parent class? I'm assuming it's a character, right? It's supposed to be a character. Let's go to all classes. Oh, I see. Let's go with pick parent class. Let's go with pick parent class. Maybe I just go with PARENT. Okay, in the search bar of the pick parent class window, type female. Let's go with female. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and select. Let's name it something like BP_female. Let's go with blueprint_female. Okay, oh, I see how this works. Step 2, plug in the brain in the inputs. Now that you have a female, open your female class. I'm gonna go ahead and double click this. It opens my female class. And then in the details panel, usually on the top right, look at the input category. Look at the input category. Oh, I see. Okay. Default mapping context. I'm gonna go ahead and add those things here. Let's go with IMC default. Let's go with IA look and then IA move. That is move action is IA move. This is gonna be IA look. There we go. Okay, and then once I'm done with that, compile and save. So I gotta go ahead and compile and save. Maybe I want my auto receive input to be, I guess I'll set it to be default for the time being. Step 3, double click. Okay, the double lock check pitch. Since you said pitch doesn't work, even though you set it in code, we're going to manually verify that the blueprint inside BP female. Click on the camera boom component on the top left list. Let's go ahead and increase this. Where's camera boom? There we go. Okay, so I have my camera boom here. This is my camera boom's inputs. In the details panel, search for use pawn control rotation. Let's go with something like use pawn control rotation. It is set to true. Ensure it's checked. Okay, sometimes blueprint overrides the C++ constructor. Step 4, drag your BP female from the content browser into your level. Click on her in the level. In the details panel, search for player possess. I did all that stuff. It still doesn't work. Let's go to something like mesh. Didn't I do everything here? Let's go ahead and just exit this after compiling. Exit this. I did everything. My pitch doesn't work still. Should I go with hybrid? Should I use like legacy inputs for like moving myself in the pitch? Because that works. Okay, let's go with something like live compile. I'm gonna go ahead and compile this real quick. Because I know how to make it work, but the thing is, should I make it work that way? Let's go ahead and run the code real quick. So, okay, I can't look up and down, guys. I think this much should be it. I'm gonna go ahead and do it the old-fashioned way. I mean, because I think that's the way that only works with pitches, unless I'm doing something wrong here. That's it. I'm gonna go with something like axis mapping. I'm gonna have two axis mapping. This is gonna be for turn. Okay, and then this is going to be for I'm gonna turn depending on where my mouse moves in the x-axis. I'm gonna go with something like mouse moves in the x-axis, and I'm gonna go ahead and look up. Let's go with something like look up depending on where my mouse moves in the y-axis. That's about it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and go all the way down here till my actual code in my female. I'm gonna scroll this. I'm gonna remove my look method from here. Instead, I'm gonna go with something like void for a turn function which requires a floating point parameter of value ending with a semicolon, and then another void function for something like look up which requires a floating point parameter of value as well. I know that this thing works because this is like legacy inputs. I was trying to make it work with like enhanced inputs. Apparently it does not work. I tried it like for 2 whole days now. Okay, speaking of which, under my move function, I'm gonna go ahead and remove my void function for a female look. Instead, I'm gonna go ahead and go with something like a void function for my a female. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my turn method. Let's go with something like turn, which requires a floating point parameter of value. Then I'm going to go with the probe curly braces. Now, inside my function, I'm going to go ahead and add a controller. Yaw input. Let's go with something like yaw input. This is a horizontal input that requires a floating point parameter of my value ending with a semicolon. Then I'm going to go ahead and create another void function for a female, which is going to be having a look up function that requires a floating point parameter of a value. Okay, with a pair of curly braces, I'm gonna go ahead and add a controller pitch input this time. Let's go with something like pitch input that requires a floating point parameter of value. And that's like pretty much it. I'm just gonna go ahead and remove this enhanced input from here. Instead, I'm gonna go ahead and let's say I'm gonna go ahead and bind. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my player input component. Let's go with player input component is gonna go ahead and point towards, let's say, something like a bind access function, which requires a few parameters. The first is my access name, that is gonna be something like turn. Second object, this object. Third parameter is gonna be what do I want to do? I want to do the stuff from my a females class, the content that's inside of my turn function. Then I'm gonna go ahead and end this with a semicolon. Next up, I'm gonna add another player input component. Okay, which points towards, let's say, something like the look up function, which requires a few parameters. The first is going to be look up my access name. Object is going to be this object. What I want to do, I'm going to give the memory address of my a female, which points towards the look up function. And guys, this is legacy. This is going to be bind access. My bad, guys. Let's go with bind access. There we go. And guys, this is like a legacy input. This is like the old-fashioned way people used to do it, by adding like legacy input way to actually turn your character and all that stuff. I did go over and I tried the enhanced input, but apparently that does not work. But I am positive that this is going to work. So I'm going to go with something like live compile. Let's go down here. Let's go ahead and compile. Let's wait for it to compile. Okay, okay, guys, this is more like a hybrid. I mixed enhanced inputs and like legacy inputs here. There we go, successful. Let's go ahead and run the code. Now, I can go ahead and look up, I can look down, I can look towards the left, and I can look towards the right, if that makes any sense, guys. Although, what's up with my camera? Whoa. Okay, I mean, something is kind of wrong with my camera. I mean, I can look up and down, like I can look up and I can look down, but something is messed up with my camera. I can turn towards the left, turn towards the right. There. I mean, honestly, I do just enjoy my pitch inputs. Something is kind of wrong. Maybe I want to get my camera a little further away from my mesh. There. Okay, because it's probably like just above my mesh. There we go. Let me go ahead and get my camera. Let's go with something like female. I'm going to go with something like follow camera. Get it a bit back. There we go. And then a bit higher. Okay, now let's go ahead and live compile. I'm going to go with something like live compile. I mean, the hybrid does work, but like for some reason, Gemini sent me that it's not recommended. Let me know if you guys like think I should go with the hybrid method or not. Let's go all the way here. Why do I like zoom forwards when I go under a certain this thing? I mean, is this how regular stuff works? Like, is this how people usually go? But speaking of which, I want to go to my IA. Okay, here's something I need to do. Only when I click my right button in my mouse, I want my turn to look up to work. Okay, wait, let's go with Control C, copy that. Let's get Gemini up here. Okay, let's get Gemini all the way up here real quick. So there we go. Okay, now let me go ahead and increase this part. Let's go ahead and extend it from here, zoom in. Okay, let's go ahead and paste this. Go with Shift Enter and see something like Sensei. I ended up mixing legacy inputs and let's go with something like and enhance inputs. This way I can have my yaw and pitch inputs working. Okay, and also I want to only have access to my yaw and pitch input if I let's say something like if I click my right mouse button and move my mouse either vertically or horizontally, if that makes any sense. Okay, let's see. Hiding Leon, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, let's end, guys. Why am I still using the chat from like 2 days ago? Okay, speaking of chats, I want to drink some water because I am kind of starving actually. Okay, let's go ahead and open this part up real quick. Okay, that's strange. Why is Gemini still thinking? I know it's because like it's a really old chat. Let me go ahead and just restart this. I'm gonna refresh this up. Okay. Let me go ahead and paste my code. Shift Enter, say something nice and say. I mixed legacy inputs and enhanced inputs. It works now, but I want to rotate using my mouse only when I click my right mouse button in my only when I click my right mouse button, if that makes any sense. Okay, let's see, because guys, like in regular games, the only time we turn is when we click our right mouse button. I see you're venturing into the action RPG or MMO style controls. It makes perfect sense. You want your mouse to move the cursor freely until you hold the right click and then it rotates the camera. But Sensei's warning, mixing legacy bind axle with enhanced inputs is like trying to drive a car with wooden wheels and 3 race tires. It works for now, but it will break your heart later. Let's do professional enhancement. It does not work though. Okay, the right click plan. Make this work. We need gauge. The camera should only move right. Okay, so the header files, add a new line. Okay, right mouse button. Okay, RMB, right mouse button. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and copy this part. I'm just gonna go ahead and copy this for now to check if it works type stuff. That said, I might just go ahead and paste this here because I am pretty exhausted, so I just want to like see if this works type stuff. Okay, inside female. Okay, inside female.h under action and above look. Let's go ahead and delete this part. There we go. Okay, and then once I'm done with that part, I'm gonna go out of it up here again. The C++, I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. We use this modern look function instead of those legacy turn slash lookup functions. But this does not work. Okay, okay, so this is setup player input component under that female look. LPDR. Wait, what comes first, setup player input component or my look function? Okay, so since a secret editor trick, open your mapping context, IMC default, look at mapping. You look at IA look mapping, click the arrow to see the modifiers trigger, add a trigger called cohort action in the cohort action slot. Select your right click. Okay, I feel I might do this next stream. I am like really exhausted to like understand any of this part right now. Let me say something like Sensei. I think that I want to work on this part next stream because I am kind of I'm kind of exhausted this stream. Excuse me guys, so is there anything that you want to say to the viewers before I end the stream, question mark? Okay, let's see. I did want to go for longer, but then I feel like I'm kind of exhausted to understand this. And speaking of which, guys, I do like have my college tomorrow, so my streaming time is gonna change depending on my college's schedule, that stuff. That's since I stand straight, adjust her, blah blah blah. Listen up everyone, you just witnessed a true developer in the making today. It wasn't always easy. We fought the red underline monster, wrestled with axes that didn't want to move, and even performed a hybrid logic surgery, but our apprentice never backed down. Programming isn't just about getting it right at the first time, it's about having the heart to fix it when it goes wrong. Today we gave this character a soul and a way to see the world. Next time we're programming into him. Master that right click, and guys stay tuned still because I'm going to be opening my blender and like working a bit on blender right now. Okay, camera magic that makes control feel like a professional AAA game. To the viewers, thank you for supporting our journey. Every great game you've ever played started exactly like this, with someone tired staring at code but refusing to quit. And to my apprentice, you turned blah blah blah. Go rest your brains has earned it. You did amazing work today. I'm proud of you. Okay, proud how you handle the new project. When you wake up, your code will make even more sense. Until next time, stay inspired, keep building. Stream dismissed. Okay, that's it. Let me go ahead and exit this real quick. I want to go ahead and exit my Unreal as well. But before that, I want to make sure that I save everything. Let's go ahead and save everything. I'm going to go ahead and save. Let's go with Control S to save as well. Exit this. Let's hit Control S to save the code. Exit that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and open my Blender real quick because I want to check that does my Blender lag. Maybe not this. I'm going to go ahead and open my actual Blender mesh. Let's go with something like my Lisa blend. And the reason I know that I won't be getting a copyright here is because I've already... Oh, wait, let me open my chat real quick. Okay, okay, because I am like... Let me go ahead and just set this up real quick. I'm going to get this a bit to the left. There we go. Let's get this higher. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and drag this part here, there. Okay, that should be good. Okay, the reason I won't be getting a copyright, even though I have like my... whatchamacallit, my reference image here, is because I did play Genshin, and this is like a image of like my Genshin Impact's character. I'm just using it as a reference type, so but guys, I already messed up. Okay, here's the thing. Does it make my stream lag? Glad it does not, so I can have a whole Blender stream. Okay, can I move around? Hold up, guys, watching my stream. There we go. Okay, I think it's actually perfect, so I can actually move around and do all that stuff. Okay, I'm going to be working on Blender later on, though. For now, I'm just going to exit this. Let's go ahead and hit save. That's it. Let me go to my main camera. Alright, guys, so basically that was pretty much it for this stream. That's it. If you guys did enjoy the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Like helps my algorithm, sharing makes you smart, and subscribing is like a cherry on top. That's it, guys. I just started multi-streaming on Twitch, Kick, YouTube. I will start multi-streaming on Instagram and TikTok as well. I completely like gave up on Trovo, guys. That's it. If you guys do enjoy my content, haven't followed me there, make sure to follow me there. The link is in the description. And also join the Discord server. That's where I usually talk to you guys, chat with you guys, have general conversations, give you guys the roadmaps and all that stuff. The link will be in the description as well. And you guys can get access to my Discord server or my socials in general if you guys have exclamation Discord and chat. And also, I did add a community poll, actually image community post, asking you guys what should I do this Tuesday, because Tuesdays I have stream that is not programming type stuff. Okay, the options were either I model like a 3D anime character on Blender, either I, whatchamacallit, either I play Wuthering Waves that I was pretty excited to play, and also should I play Geometry Dash, or there's an option where you guys can say it in the comments as well. That's it. I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace. And guys, I feel like the new haircut that I gave myself yesterday does look kind of weird. That's it. Let's go ahead and end the stream.